Normally I do lives from my workshop, but because we're home alone, Gracie and me today, so my husband's not around, and because it's wet out, Gracie doesn't want to play on the climbing frame, which is what I would normally have her doing if I was in the workshop. So I'm in my kitchen today, so I've had to just sort of set things up the best I can, and I'm hoping you can see everything. You can see me, and I'm going to show you something interesting. So I have this little table. So this is the top. I've removed the top just to get it painted. It needed a good scrub, and also it was a little bit bowed, but actually removing it, giving it a good scrub, I don't know whether just having that little bit of dampness and then sitting on a flat table while I've painted it, it's levelled out quite nicely. So I've given this 2 coats of sea glass. So it's a really pretty green. If you haven't used it before, it's really like a nice minty, like a nice mint pastel colour. So that's the tabletop. Again, the base has been done the same. I've tried a couple of techniques this morning before coming on with you, just to see what I preferred the look of. Originally, I was intending to show you some dry brushing, because I know lots of people find blending a little bit daunting, and dry brushing is quite an easy way to get some extra colours in, but it just didn't work on this piece, so I covered it up again with sea glass, and I've tried something else and I really like it. So the other colours that we're working in, let me explain you why I'm using some other colours. So there is some cute details in this. This table is had been a bit rickety, so I've glued the leg, but I don't know if you can see here. There's been a repair historically. I picked it up for cheap because I just loved the cuteness. Someone's shaved a bit off one of the legs. See, this is how it should be, with a pretty curl. Someone's obviously at some point needed to shave it off for the space it was going in. So it's had a life. Looks like that leg has been repaired at some point as well. So I didn't want to have to spend the time taking all this out and re-repairing. So the reason I'm wanting to add extra colours in is I'm going to add to the tabletop. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to add this piece of transfer. And there's some extra colours in here, and I just wanted to make it a little bit fun, pick some of these colours out. So I have chosen, again, I've gone through some colours and tested them on here, and some that showed better than others. So a little bit about testing, just test it, you can paint over it. So this has had 5 different colours on top of it this morning. You wouldn't know, just paint over it. Try something, if you don't like it, paint over it. So I'm going to use Flamingo, because it picks out the sort of pinky peaches in the peony, or the rose that's in there. I'm going to use Blueberry, because it picks out in the hydrangea. And I'm going to use Lemonade, just because I like it. No, there is some yellows in there, and it's just it's a really, really subtle pastel, but it's really pretty. So what I did this morning, and this is where I've ended up liking it. I don't know if you can see that. The lighting, I'm trying to get my lighting as good as possible. So what I've done is I've done the sea glass, and then I've coated it with Blueberry, and I've wiped it back. So it's almost like using it like a glaze. And it just sits in the creases, and it just gives a pop of those colours that are going to come through in the transfer. And I really like it. So that's what I'm going to show you today. So I'm going to tilt the camera down ever so slightly a bit more, and I'm hoping that the light is still okay for you. I've got 3 brushes for my new 3 colours. They should all come off easily, because I've been using them this morning already. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to start with maybe put some coral through here, not coral, Flamingo, sorry. The Blueberry on the legs, because I like the way it looks on the legs. And then when I used the Lemonade earlier, I used that through this section, and it really looked cute. So I'm going to go straight in with the Lemonade over here. And I'm just dabbing it to get it all into the creases and the nooks and crannies. But I'm going to do a little bit at a time, because what I don't want to do is it to dry too much. And I'm going to use baby wipe to wipe it back. You can use kitchen towel. I just like how the amount this takes back. So just wipe it back, and you see how it sits in the creases. Can you see? Oh, it's sitting in the creases, but it's coming off the main colour. So it's giving you a real subtle pastel look, but it's not overpowering. But you can see how easy it is to just give yourself a little bit of colour and not overwhelm the piece. Or if you decide you don't like it, you can see how easy it would be to just paint it back over. And it makes it look a bit older and a bit more aged because it's not a solid colour as well. It's just, I like the effect it's giving. A bit more in there. So, I'm not seeing any comments from anyone. So I don't know if anyone can see me. I know Jodie sometimes says she doesn't get any comments until she writes a comment. So if you're there, guys, can you just let me know if you can see and I'll see if I've got any comments coming through. I don't know if I've set something wrong this morning or something's gone a bit wrong. I can see I've got a few people watching. Okay, so I'm going to do the Flamingo colour now. Do that in these details here. So the other colours that I tried this morning were, I had Savannah Mist, which is one of my favourites, but it was just too subtle. It didn't really give me enough definition for what I wanted. It didn't show me enough. So I decided not to use that. And I also got Apricot. And again, it was just a bit too, I wanted something a bit more punchy. You know, this is a fun little table. I just want something a little bit... Julie, hello, thank you. I've got comments. Brilliant. Thank you for that. I'm just going to see if I can put a little bit more of the lemonade in and sort of blend those two together. Perhaps. And I'm not going for a full blend. I'm just... because it's in the details. I'm just... using a dabbing motion to see if that'll work. There you go. See, I'm actually wiping most of it back. I'm wiping most of what I'm putting on back, but it's just sitting in the little carvings really nicely. I'll just show you. See, ooh, wrong way again. You see? See, I've wiped back there. And I haven't wiped back here yet. So it's just sweet and subtle. And you know, it's just a lovely way to use colour. And if you are finding blending a little bit daunting, this is just a bit of a fun way to add some extra colours in. That's really sweet. Okay, right. So I'm going to go in with the blueberry now. On the legs. And like I said, the great thing is I tried all sorts this morning to see what would work, to see what I liked, and the stuff that I didn't like, I just painted back over. And it worked really well. It's definitely, like I said, it's giving you a glaze effect. These two colours work lovely together. The blueberry and the sea glass, really pretty together. Okay, do another leg. So if you've got any questions, I can look up and check questions as I'm going. If you've got anything you need to... I'm hoping to pop the transfer on this afternoon. Is anyone else struggling to get anything done with kids at home? We've got the summer holidays at the moment and it's tricky. Not gonna lie, tricky. You do your best and you do best by them. You want to try to entertain them, but you also want to let your creative juices flow. And it feels like the end of the day and Gracie comes out to me and says, I'd like to do some craft, which is what I got yesterday, just before I'm about to start cooking dinner. The struggle is real. Do you need to seal Dixie Belle? Hi Julie. You don't have to seal it. It does seal it. It's, you know, once it's cured, it's sealed. So it really depends on the traffic of the piece, what it's going to be used for. So, for example, the legs of this wouldn't have to be sealed. The top, even if I wasn't putting a transfer on, I would. But because I'm doing all this, I will be sealing it. So they've got a range of top coats. So you've got the clear coats in flat, satin and gloss, and then gator hide, which is the toughest, most resilient, water repellent, the strongest top coat. You can wax, but it all depends on what you're familiar with, what finish you like to feel. It's a dry chalk feeling paint, but because it's chalk mineral paint, it does self-seal. It just all depends on what your finish is. And if you're doing furniture to sell on, most people that are in that boat will seal their painted pieces. Just because you just don't want any comebacks. And it's peace of mind. And you know, anyone that's familiar with chalk paint is used to a waxy sort of finish. So any kind of customers are used to a finish. Some kind of finish, but it is not required. And if there's any pieces here on the legs that I feel like it's not wiped back enough on, I can just go back and touch up with sea glass. And because the blueberry here is sat in the crevices and the grooves and things how I want, it'll be easy to just go back and touch up, if I need to, the sea glass. But actually I quite like this sort of, it's almost like these two colours together, almost a bit mermaidy. It's cute, I like it. And do you know what I'm going to do? Because see this rag, this baby wipe, because it's got so much blueberry in, I'm just going to wipe it over the top of my piece. And it's just going to give me, again, a bit of a sort of glaze, dry brushed, washed effect. And it just tones the sea glass down ever so slightly. And then I'm going to get a clean one. And just do it again so it strips it back a bit. But you see how you can just, your plans can change. You don't get too stressed about things, especially on a, like I said, this was an inexpensive table that I picked up because I just thought it had nice proportions. Just experiment and have fun. And what I'll probably do is I'll probably do on the tabletop, you're welcome Julie, on the tabletop I'll probably do a little wash of the blueberry as well, just to tie it in with the rest of what I've done. But overall, I'm quite pleased with how that's turned out. So we've got a very, very, very subtle blueberry on the top. We've got lemonade through the middle, and then the flamingo. There you go. I'm sorry, I'm going to flip you around so you can see the flamingo. Quite sweet. Okay, I'm going to finish up there, and I hope you've been able to see everything I've been doing well enough, and I hope it's given you some ideas. Thanks for watching. Bye.